Ricky Rose, the time has come. Meech on. February 13th, get your tickets right now. It's going down. We know Florida gonna be there. Miami gonna be there. The legend himself gonna be in the building, making history. Meech, who else coming?
The whole nation. Detroit, St. Louis, California, everybody. Atlanta, Georgia, ATL, stand up.
Woo. We're gonna make history. Get your tickets right now.
I feel bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the f I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. What you asking for my sympathy for? You be alright.
Rick Ross just turned Big Meech into a chess piece in what's being whispered about as a $120 million hustle. And now 50 Cent is out here clowning the entire situation like it's the biggest joke in hip-hop. The wildest part? Everybody on the block saw this move coming from a mile away. Everybody except Meech himself. Ross came in slick, dangling, shiny movie deals, promising blockbuster projects, throwing out numbers that sounded too good to be true. He painted pictures of Hollywood lights and red carpets, selling Meech on the dream that his story was about to become bigger than Scarface. But when the smoke cleared, Meech and his son were left out here looking empty-handed, while Ross is still eating steak dinners in mansions and flexing luxury cars on Instagram. If you've really been tuned into the whispers of the streets, you already know this story didn't just fall out of the sky. After Big Meech walked out of prison in October, the entire culture was buzzing. People thought the legend is back and something major is about to shake.
I wasn't going to address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family.
Everyone expected a comeback move so big, it would send shockwaves through rap, film, and the business world. Then, out of nowhere, Rick Ross jumped on the scene, talking heavy like he was the one holding the keys to Meech's future. He started hyping up a $120 million film deal, dropping promises of franchises, TV shows, global distribution, the kind of pitch that sounds like a once-in-a-lifetime bag.
I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small-budget series. Now it's time to do a big-budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie, F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino, there's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it. I'm just talking.
On paper, it looked like Meech was finally about to eat off his own legacy, finally cash in on the empire he built brick by brick, but reality hit hard. When all the smoke cleared, no cameras, no movie set, no Hollywood deal, nothing but silence. The only person smiling was Ross, because while Meech's camp was waiting on checks that never came, Ross was still stacking, still shining, and still running his empire like nothing happened. Ross delivered absolutely nothing. Instead, he used the Meech name like a stage prop, a flashy badge to flex against his longtime rival, 50 Cent. But here's the twist. The streets weren't fooled for a second. Folks been side-eyeing Ross since day one, whispering that all those promises were nothing but clout-chasing smokescreens, because everybody already knew who was putting in the real work behind the scenes. And that was 50. While Ross was busy hyping himself up, 50 Cent was the one actually cutting checks, pouring real money into the BMF show, and making sure Lil Meech had a shot at a real career. He even slid money into acting classes for Lil Meech, lined him up with Hollywood connects, and turned him from the son of a legend into a rising actor with real credits. That's more than hype. That's long-term investment. Meanwhile, all Ross brought to the table was hot air, an empty PR stunt, and a quick boost for his own image. Still, shockingly, Big Meech leaned closer to Ross, almost like he ignored the man who actually kept his name alive. That decision? It rubbed a lot of insiders the wrong way. Tony Yayo even said it straight. No sugarcoating. 50 been riding with Lil Meech from the jump. He wasn't lying. 50 stood solid, while Ross was just floating around trying to make headlines.
50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You better shut up. I will buy your masters.
Now the word on the block is Meech is starting to feel the pressure. He's frustrated, pockets looking strange, realizing Ross never linked up with him out of loyalty or respect. Ross wanted ammo, a storyline to keep poking at 50. And instead of making Meech look like the king he once was, the optics now got him looking like a pawn caught in the middle of somebody else's rap war. That's when 50 finally said, enough is enough. He dusted off his legendary troll playbook and threw a shot sharp enough to sting. He joked that Ross told Lil Meech to hand over his dad's prison address so he could send him some Wingstop wings. Funny, right? But don't miss the deeper message. 50 was basically telling the world that Ross wasn't feeding Meech anything real, just tossing him scraps. And that wings jab? It cut deep because it rang too close to the truth. Fans laughed. The internet ran wild with memes, and even Ross's supporters had to admit it was a punchline with teeth. Then things really went left. 50 Cent turned up the heat and started dropping bombshells about Lil Meech's personal struggles. He claimed he personally had to send the kid to rehab, painting a picture of someone spiraling behind the scenes. According to 50, Lil Meech was showing up to set lit, couldn't stay focused, and even threw up during a weapons test. It was the kind of detail that had fans gasping because it wasn't just gossip. It sounded like 50 was exposing things only someone close to the production would know. And just when the internet was trying to process that, another piece of dirt surfaced. The infamous Whippets story. 50 said they found them in Lil Meech's truck, then laughed about his own confusion, admitting he had to Google what Whippets even were. That laugh wasn't innocent. It was trolling gold. He was making sure the world saw him as the responsible adult, the boss in the room, while Lil Meech was painted as reckless and out of control. The way 50 framed it, he was the one stepping in to protect Lil Meech, guiding him like a mentor, while Ross and even Big Meech himself were more focused on hyping up the same habits that could tear the young man down.
Is there anything about Ross and his career that you have any respect for? No, there's nothing there. I never wanted to work with him.
50 made himself look like the safety net, while Ross looked like the enabler. That's a narrative with teeth, and the public ate it up. But here's the crazy twist. After all that, Lil Meech still rolled with Ross. He was spotted chilling with him in clubs, partying, acting like none of 50's warnings mattered. And that's when the backlash really hit. Suddenly, people started roasting the Meech legacy itself, saying the bond with Ross was paper thin and crumbling way faster than anyone expected. Then came the knockout blow from inside 50's own Power universe. Michael Rainey Jr., who plays Tariq on Power, came out bold with no filter. He said flat out he didn't feel sorry for either Lil Meech or Big Meech, dropping the quote, "Grown men should have seen this coming." That line went viral instantly. Fans debated it, blogs picked it up, and it spread like wildfire. The fact that it came from one of the 50's proteges gave it extra weight. And when 50 caught wind of it, he didn't back off. He doubled down. He stamped Rainey's words as the official narrative, pushing the angle that the Meech camp was looking weak, caught slipping, and siding with the wrong people. That's when the storyline shifted completely. It wasn't just 50 versus Ross anymore. It was 50 and his whole circle building a wall of receipts against the Meech camp. And to make things worse for Ross, this wasn't the first time whispers like this followed him. Insiders quickly dug up old stories. Allegedly, Ross once left his own squad in Canada hanging, letting them get jumped while he slipped away, only to pop back later, claiming it was a test of strength. Cold doesn't even begin to cover it. To critics, this was proof that Ross had a history of looking out for himself first, everyone else second. But that's Ross's M.O. At least that's what folks been saying for years. People swear he's been moving grimy since the very beginning, and the latest drama only adds fuel to that fire. Even Whack 100 jumped into the chaos, blasting Ross as the real villain lurking in the shadows. Whack didn't bite his tongue either. He flat out said Ross was never a true friend to Big Meech. He accused Ross of using Meech like a pawn, a shiny prop just to throw shade at 50. And the way Whack broke it down, it hit hard. He said if Ross had really wanted to help Meech, he would have moved in silence. Real business, real power moves, don't need Instagram posts and viral clips. Whack claimed Ross could have kept it private, sat down with Meech, and actually built something solid. But instead, Ross broadcasted everything, made it about his own shine, his own brand, his own ego. And that alone told the whole story. Ross wasn't in it for Meech, Ross was in it for Ross. The play was set before it even began. Ross gassed Meech up, whispering about stacked bread, global empires, and Hollywood opportunities. He paraded him around like a trophy, not a partner, all while subtly turning him against 50 Cent, the man who actually had Meech's back from day one. When the dust finally cleared, all that energy turned out to be nothing but smoke. Ross fell silent, vanished from the storyline, and left Meech dangling in the wind. The hype was gone overnight. And that's when the ugly truth snapped into focus. Ross only pushes what lines his own pockets. Period. Once Meech stopped fitting into that equation, he wasn't part of the plan anymore. Insiders even claim Ross was behind the cancellation of Meech's welcome home benefit, the one that was supposed to celebrate his return. At first, some people tried to blame 50, but whispers say it was Ross who didn't want Meech shining too bright. Think about it. A successful comeback for Meech would have stolen Ross's thunder, so better to keep him sidelined while Ross played hero on social media. That ain't friendship, that's betrayal. The optics were brutal. Instead of rewriting his legendary story, Meech ended up trading loyalty for clout. And once people clocked that, they stopped rocking with him heavy. The streets started laughing at the same name that used to carry respect.
Ever seen anybody confront Rick Ross about you?
Not in person, no. Anytime I'm around, he disappears.
But is there any video of anybody like, hey, why are you running around with this dude's name?
Things got even messier when Meech tried firing back at 50, calling him an internet gangster, and claiming all 50 does is troll from behind a phone. But nobody bought that narrative. The streets saw it for what it was, damage control, because by that point, the clowning already stuck. 50's trolling had shaped the headlines, memes were flying everywhere, and the legend of Meech was now tangled in one of the messiest PR disasters hip-hop has seen in years. And when you look closer, Ross's whole history starts painting the same picture over and over again. BMF had Meech thinking Ross was riding for him like family, like a brother in arms. But what if that was just the setup? What if Ross only wanted to be Big Meech in the eyes of the culture? When you break it down, it fits perfectly, because Ross built his entire rap persona off names that weren't even his in the first place. And that's not speculation. It's documented. His entire brand was borrowed from the real Rick Ross, a heavyweight kingpin who was behind bars while Ross turned his name into a chart-topping rap identity. When the real Rick Ross came home, he blasted him for it, publicly called him a fraud, and even tried suing him over stealing his legacy. But the courts didn't stop the momentum, and Ross kept the name, stacking fame and fortune off somebody else's life story. And that wasn't a one-off move either. Ross pulled the same stunt with Larry Hoover, one of Chicago's most infamous names. He used Hoover's story and lyrics, shouted him out, and made money while Hoover was locked away. Same playbook, different legend. Every time, Ross boosted his own stock by leaning on somebody else's weight, somebody else's name. Now when you line it all up side by side, the real Rick Ross, Larry Hoover, and now Big Meech, it tells a clear, undeniable story. Ross has been eating off other people's legacies for years, and now, according to the whispers, he's allegedly running that same hustle with Meech. When you move like that, can you really be trusted? A lot of folks say no, and that's why 50 Cent never minced his words. From day one, 50 said he didn't respect Ross as a man. He's been consistent, calling Ross out for being a fraud, for building an image that wasn't really his. And now, watching this situation unfold with Meech, people are starting to say maybe 50 was right all along. Of course, the online community is already loud with opinions. One comment that hit hard said flat out, "Rick Ross is a fraud." Another person posted, "Ross messed him up." The debate is heavy. Was Ross just playing the game? Or did he really leave Big Meech stranded after selling him a dream? Is Meech's loyalty misplaced? Or did he get straight up played for clout? What do you think? Let us know in the comments, because the streets are split right now and your voice matters. And before you dip out, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your people, and drop your thoughts below. We're bringing more wild stories, more receipts, and more breakdowns you won't hear anywhere else. Appreciate the support. See you in the next one.